Is Satan real? Does evil actually exist? Is Hashatan or Shaitan real? Does evil or wickedness actually exist? When you run around in intellectual circles, you find that people are very much about what they can do and their capacities and their retirement plans and everything. And when you run around the continent, you hear people saying God's will and God is doing this and so forth. Now, it occurred to me that if we believe that there is a sense of wickedness or evil or Satan, he gotta have a will too, right? Like he gotta have a desire for what he wants, his desired outcomes. And that has to be all encompassing. Because we hear when people go through some bad, especially men, like, oh, that was an evil woman. She did some wicked things to me. Are certain people following the wishes of Satan? Are certain people following the wishes of God, the Most High? Because if we're to deduce the fact that Satan is real, he has to have his will, his desires. He has to make sure that what he wants gets done. If God is real, the Most High, he has to have his will, the way he likes to see things done. And I believe that the concept, the construct of the marriage was God's will. And the headship of man, being the head of the home, was God's will, the Most High, Yahuwah. So the existence of Satan or Hashatan or evil wickedness means it's contrary to the will of God. It has to be, because you have an enemy, your enemy is going to be anti you. So therefore, we have to remember that people are constantly choosing which path they travel on, which road they choose. So when people, even in business, amongst men, they do the wrong things, it's not just because, oh, he did a bad thing. It's because somebody sat down, thought about it, and they chose a direction that's not suitable to what they want to do, what contrary to what's righteous, what's holy, or what's a good thing. It's not just decisions are not just based on, oh, he did a bad thing. Some people lean towards that which is the will of Satan, as far as I can tell. Because some people do some really wicked things. You don't get to, I'll use my friend's example. His woman took his children outside the country without his knowledge. And of course, the woman says, well, she's needed, whatever. But you don't get to do those things if there's love and you're following the will of God, based on the example I've given. And it's extreme. You say you're calling that person worshiping the devil, following the devil, the will of the devil. We have to acknowledge that certain paths that people are choosing are evil, the will of the devil. If you are with a man purely because you want to use him for his resources and you don't love them, that couldn't possibly be with the will of God. It couldn't. Same thing, it goes both ways, I should say. If a man is purely with you because of your status and your position, that's not the will of God. It has to be the will of Satan. Because if God is there, we have to acknowledge Satan is there. And if God has a will, his desires and wishes of things and his commandments, Satan has that too. And we know that wickedness is prevalent because look at the righteousness of the music industry. How are women represented? The leaders, the people that most women look up to, the Rihannas, the Sexy Red, the Gorilla, the everybody. It's not exactly a good look of modesty and chaste and good morals. It's not. Yes, of course, you could say in the music industry for men, the Future, the Kanye West, the Jay Z's. It's not exactly good, and we know that those people do not follow the will of God. So then, what's a man to do? Now, this is the point I'm trying to make. Relationship wise, a lot of people are not following the will of God. The good thing to do, the right thing to do, they're doing it for self. And if you look at Aleister Crowleyism, is do what thou will, because he was a Luciferian, a devil worshiper. Says, do what thou will shall be the whole law. So people are in it following the will of Satan. You follow me? They are rejecting the path of God, the path of the Most High, even in a relational sense. When you are, as a man, just hooking up with random chicks, and you just, is in a way breaking hearts, you're not following the will of the Most High. You're not. Now you could argue that it's different for a man to sleep around, but you're not. When you're a woman, you're so far from virginity. It's one thing to be far from virginity, but so far that you're regularly hooking up with 3-4 guys a month. You got rotation, and yet you go to church. Come on now. Y'all call it dating. If Satan is real, I can see how that's the path of Satan, because that's not beneficial to you overall as a human being. It's not beneficial to you. If a man's impregnating women, making babies out of wedlock everywhere, that cannot be the will of God. Relationship wise, he hurting women, he hurting children. And if you're a woman, you're giving up your body to random men regularly in the name of rotation in terms of empowerment, that's definitely not the will of God. So is Satan real? 100% he is real. Is wickedness real? 100% it is. And that's the will that's prevalent. That's the path people are following. And they love it. It's in our music. It's in our dating culture. There was no such thing as dating. Oh, we just dating. No, dating is usually just fucking. Can we be real? Like, let's be real. I dated 5 guys. Translation. You didn't hear that? So then, those men who are trying to live in this word, and they're not trying to be dismissive of the higher power, we have to say, how then do I live? If there's such a thing as a will of Satan and people are following it, the will of the evil one, then how do we seek the path that's more righteous? Because I can tell you, even with a known higher power, known biblical background, this stuff that's going on is chaotic. This whole rotations, and I can do whatever I want, use them for whatever you got. I need divorce, take him to the cleaners. That's definitely not the way to go forward. It doesn't serve. It may serve women in the short term, but it definitely harms them in the long term, because men will readjust. So if the majority of people are following the way of Satan because they're happy to go with that music says it, the relationship shows it. How are men to move? We have to figure out. That's why I need a template. I go to the template. What do the scriptures teach? Then I go to that. Trust and believe. The majority of people that attend churches are women. But I can tell you that a lot of them don't follow what's in the scripture. They don't like to be led. Hookup culture would not exist if women did not permit it. If Satan's real, Satan is real, wickedness is real, then God is real. Then there's consequences to each behavior. So somebody's pleased when his ways are being followed. Just a thought. I was pondering and it came upon me, and I wanted to bring this word. I've said enough. Peace, love, and blessings.